On the farm, we have a conveyor belt, a couple of them, but this is our main one. Self-propelled, super nice unit, moves a ton of bushels. We can load a Super Bee in 15 minutes. It's amazing. But it's a 2012 model. It's been used a lot, and now it is time for some work. So it's an early model ReliaBelt, and they made them standalone for a while, and then they sold out to Meridian. And so in the early models, it's hard to find parts. And this is a 2012, so it's got a different hopper than the new ones, and you can't get the hopper for the old ones. So I bought a hopper, but it doesn't fit, and we knew it didn't fit, so we're having to modify stuff so that we can get this thing back together. Problem is, I took this thing apart like 2 months ago, and now I got to figure out how to put it back together again. This is the hopper, and this section is the same length. I think the angle here on this hip is slightly different, but the biggest difference is the back half. You can see the newer models have an extra 2 feet of hopper on the bottom, so I have to trim everything to make it fit this. This is the canvas that we bought, and it was too long, so we got it cut at this joint here and re-sewed so it's shorter, and then we had to make this a little shorter as well because, you know, as the hopper goes, it grows, and with taking out 2 feet from here, we had to modify this back section. I was tempted to take off the length at the front, but then we would not have the hip in the right place. Right now what I got going on is I am kind of just putting things on where they go with vice grips or clamps so I can figure out where I'm going to cut stuff. So I got to cut this and make a nice corner there, and then this metal piece I have to cut here. So I'm kind of just mocking things up because once I make a cut, I mean, I'm kind of sold on it. So gotta measure twice, cut once. I have done this before. We had a transfer conveyor belt, that same thing. You couldn't get the proper hopper for it, so I bought pieces off another one and modified it to make it work. Turned out really well. I'm hoping I could do the same thing here. The way this hopper is, obviously I don't have it tightened down there, but you know, it would be in the up position. It'd be like that far off, and then you'd be trying to back under something, and people were hitting the arms, so everything was just bent to, well, just really bent up. So I'm trying to straighten stuff as I go as well. But, well, we'll get it back together. I think the best thing I can do is first, I'm gonna mark this piece here, and I'll get these cut down, and then I will vice grip them onto this flashing piece and get that pressed and sandwiched so I can see where it sits, because I want to make sure I get all these wrinkles out and the kinks, because it needs to sit tight and flat, otherwise it's just going to leak grain. Problem with all this cutting and custom fabrication here is that, well, none of these bolt holes are going to be lining up, but that is just the cost of doing business, I guess, at this point. There is no going back now. I've got it all mocked up and pressed down where I think it needs to be. I was able to get the hip to kind of line up close as long as I push down in this corner. So for now we're gonna go with that. And then if this corner starts to pop up, like that or something, because that's how it wants to stay, then I will just adjust this piece up. But now I think we can cut the corner. I might have to shorten this piece of metal just a little bit and go from there. I'm gonna start cutting the flashing now, and I'm gonna use the corner end that I cut off to be a template so I can mark the round corner that I guess they want to have on it so that it lines up with the back. Got my square. I'll go to my mark. I think that actually fits quite nice. I'm pretty pleased with that. I'll have to just drill new holes, but that's easy enough said and done. Now I guess I'll start bolting it on. I gotta check this back piece that it fits, but I think it does. There you go, perfect. Well, I found my first issue with this modified hopper already. The guy who did it sewed these pieces on in the corner. I don't know if it's for structural, whatever, but I gotta be able to slide a piece of metal in here. Well, it's definitely gonna be interesting, but we're gonna try putting her together. I'm just feeding my metal pieces into the bottom of this canvas. Once I get these fed in, I will get it mounted on the hopper side. This thing is definitely super custom. The guy with the sewing machine, well, he had lots of fun, so I got to do a bunch of cuts so that my piping can run through now, because he closed it all off. But we're getting there. I mean, it won't take much to be better than what we had. So in my efforts to try and attach this top piece here, I realized that this nice radius here is not factory. In fact, it's just from everybody running into equipment with the hopper. So we have to pull these arms out and straighten those so that it'll actually bolt up. Man, this thing is tweak city. Well, I didn't have any luck pulling the metal pieces out because it's all kind of tight now and resistant. So I just grabbed the portable vise and brought it over here, and we'll try and straighten this thing best we can. Not perfect, but definitely better. We can make that work, I think. We'll get the top bolted together, and then it's actually going to start to look like something here, which is exciting. I'm hopeful. May just actually turn out. Okay. Now that I got it bolted together on the corners, I got some bungees holding it down in the back. You can see I got the hopper now on the inside, and I think we're going to start bolting it together here. I think we got to start at the back, do that first, and then we will work our way up. And I think the easiest place to start, this pipe, it sits in the hole of the front and bolts up at the back right there. So we will try and line up all those holes with these two bolts and start from there, I think. There we go. We got the first two bolts in. See them right there. And now we'll just keep lining them up, I guess. So I got the whole back bolted in. It actually turned out quite nice. That was definitely the easy part. Now none of the bolt holes line up because it's all cut and redone, whatever. But Well, I don't have long enough self-tappers, and just how janky this has kind of turned out to be. It's going to be good, but it's just not perfect, so I think we're going to drill them and then just use 1/4-inch bolts. It'll be way solider, and I'll just use a self-tapper as a pilot hole. Then it'll all line up at least. Well, I got it all bolted together now. Obviously it's not perfect because this was all custom, so the hopper doesn't sit as high as it necessarily should, but it's a lot better than what it was. And now I'm just putting on these trim pieces, and then the only thing left to do after that is this winch cable that goes through here to that handle which operates this hopper. I just got to put a new cable on it, and this thing will be good to go. These pieces are quite simple to put on too. You just feel along here until you find where that center hole is. It's right here. And then it just pushes on over top of the canvas. And you take the drill, quickly drill through with the canvas, and put a bolt through there, and it's good. There we go. Another job well done. Boom. And we have a non-holy hopper anymore.